Hello, boys and girls. Today we will be reading chapters 21, 22, and 23, and this is your pre-reading mini lesson. So, today we're going to be talking about how good readers think deeply about their text and dive into big questions using multiple reading strategies. So, today's big question that you are going to learn more about Crash and this question when you read the chapters, but I'm just going to introduce it to you. In chapter 23 specifically, you're going to learn that Crash compares his life to a football game and being on the field, okay? And what I want you to think about is why Crash does this. Why does Crash compare life to a football game or being on the field? Now, how do you answer a question like that? Great question. That's what I'm going to talk to you about. So, I'm going to show you this little organizer. And this is a great way to organize your thinking when you are responding to a big question. So a thinking web is a great way to respond to a big question because it allows you to come up with multiple thoughts that can help you connect your thinking to an answer. So take a look here. I created a little thinking web for you, and I want you to draw this exact same thing on a piece of paper, notebook paper, anything you have in front of you. And I want you to put your big thinking question in the center of it. Why does Crash compare life to a football game or being on the field? So just pause me, create this web, and then press play again once you've done that. Okay, so you should have drawn this little thinking web in your notebook. And I just gave you an example. I gave you an example of one response that I could come up with as a reader. Maybe Crash compares his life to a football game because he tries to look at life through a lens he understands well. I do the same. So, as you can see, I use the reading strategy of making a connection to my own life to help understand my big question. I do the same thing because sometimes I compare life to a soccer game. You know, if I was ever going through something where it was really tough in the beginning and maybe I was losing or feeling down, or feeling like I wasn't so successful, I might compare that to the first half of a soccer game. You know, maybe I wasn't doing great in the first half, but I have time to refresh over halftime, get my thoughts together, reflect, and then come out really strong in the second half and maybe win, and then maybe end up successful. I've definitely used that analogy quite a few times in my life, comparing life to a soccer game, because it's something I know, and it's a lens I understand well. So that's a connection I made to help understand why Crash does what he does. So that's a reading strategy that's going to be very, very helpful, okay? So what your task is while you read, especially in chapter 23, this won't be truly relevant in 21 and 22, but once you get to 23 is when I want you to really start pausing as you're reading and jotting some things down. And before you come to mini lesson part 2, make sure that you have at least, I would say, 3 or 4 of these bubbles on your thinking organizer filled out, okay? So I will see you after you read chapters 21, 22, and 23.